Think Again, Part 8. Since then, rethinking has become central to my sense of self. I am a psychologist, but I'm not a fan of Freud. I don't have a couch in my office and I don't do therapy. As an organizational psychologist at Wharton, I've spent past 15 years researching and teaching evidence-based management. As an entrepreneur of data and ideas, I have been called by organizations like Google, Pixar, the NBA, and the Gates Foundation to help them re examine how they design meaningful jobs, build creative teams, and shape collaborative cultures. My job is to think again about how we work, lead, and live, and enable others to do the same. I can't think of a more vital time for rethinking. As the coronavirus pandemic unfolded, many leaders around the world were slow to rethink their assumptions. First, that the virus wouldn't affect their countries. Next, that it would be no deadlier than the flu. And then it could only be transmitted by people with visible symptoms. The cost in human life is still being tallied. In the past year, we've all had to put our mental pliability to the test. We've been forced to question assumptions that we had long taken for granted. That it's safe to go to the hospital, eat in a restaurant, and hug our parents or grandparents. That live sports will always be on TV, and most of us will never have to work remotely or homeschool our kids. That we can get toilet paper and hand sanitizers whenever we need them. In the midst of the pandemic, multiple acts of police brutality led many people to rethink their views on racial injustice and their roles in fighting it. The senseless deaths of three black citizens, George Floyd, Breonna Taylor, and Ahmaud Arbery, left millions of white people realizing that just as sexism is not only women's issue, racism is not only an issue for people of color. As waves of protest swept the nation across the political spectrum, support for the Black Lives Matter movement climbed nearly as much in the span of 2 weeks as it had in the previous 2 years. Many of those who had long been unwilling to or unable to acknowledge it quickly came to grips with the harsh reality of systematic racism rather, that still pervades America. Many of those who had long been silent came to reckon with their responsibility to become anti-racist and act against prejudice. Despite these shared experiences, we live in an increasingly divisive time. For some people, a single mention of kneeling during the national anthem is enough to end a friendship. For others, a single ballot at a voting booth is enough to end a marriage. Golsified ideologies are tearing American culture apart.